guys and gals. Bob Sellers here, your host and resident singing fisherman. Well, today I'm not fishing, but doing something a little fun to me at least. I've got a little bang bang with me. This is a Kimber model 84M Hunter Pro Dissolve Black. It's more information than you needed to know, isn't it? Topped with a Leupold VX-5HD 3-15 by 44. Got the custom dial system on here. I've got this gun zeroed in at 100 yards for a Hornady Interlock 150 grain factory round. Today's video is going to be a comparison. I've shot a lot of different rounds through this gun. I settled on the Interlock as my preferred round for hunting, in which when you buy one of these scopes from Leupold, you can see other videos of mine explaining that in detail. You get a free custom engraved dial or turret. This one says 308 Winchester 150 Hornady IL SP for spire point, 2840 feet per second. That's what I clocked that at. My average hunting altitude is 300 feet. Average temperature probably 45 degrees and a quarter MOA each click at 100 yards. Press this button in. It's on 0 right now. Press the button in, go to 2. You're ready for a 200 yard shot. 3, 300, 3.5, 350, so on and so forth. Very neat system. Most of Leupold's higher end scopes are coming with that right now. Highly recommend it. Did a lot of research before I settled on that as well. This is the Hornady American Whitetail ammo that I settled on. And the primary reason that I settled on this ammo is that it grouped as well, and it wasn't the best grouping ammo that I've tried in this gun. This gun is not a match grade rifle. It's extremely lightweight, has a super thin barrel on it. It's got a guaranteed 1-inch MOA at 100 yards, but that's in a factory setting. You know, under their circumstances, they may shoot I don't know, 20 different 3-shot groups before they get one that's 1 inch at 100 yards or 1 MOA. But it's, you know, it comes from the factory, kind of guaranteed at that. And it is capable of shooting that. That's close to what it was shooting, if I recall correctly, with this American Whitetail, which is a 150 grain interlock bullet. I've been a big ballistic tip fan over the years, Nosler ballistic tips, but when 2020 hit and COVID and the ammo shortage, I couldn't find any of that anywhere. I don't reload. Unfortunately, I sold all that stuff of mine years ago. I still regret that, but so I'm kind of stuck with factory ammo right now. So I'm looking for the balance between the best shooting and the best price and the best availability. You can usually find this Hornady American Whitetail ammo anywhere you go and look, in most every popular cartridge, and of course 308 being one of, if not still the most popular cartridges out there. This is always typically available, and it's cheap. It's cheap. It's cheap. You can find this for less than $30 a box, and any high-powered factory ammo now for less than $30 a box is a deal. I could buy some Nosler Accubond or something like that, Partition or something like that, and maybe get better performance, better grouping. I don't know, but you're looking at anywhere from $50 to $60, $70 and more a box. And I've not caught on to the all copper or monolithic bullet phase yet. Thank God I don't live in California where lead is illegal. I can still shoot lead. And these interlocks perform a whole lot better than the ballistic tips that I've shot for years and years and years on deer-sized game. But in my recent research, a round that I've come to think may actually surpass this, and if it does, I may have to shell out the money and get me another custom dial for my Leupold there, because today I'm going to be comparing this interlock ammo to Federal Fusion 150 grain. I've done a lot of research and watched a lot of YouTube videos. This is some of the best performing bonded. This is not bonded. This is just a copper jacket filled with lead, and it's made to retain its weight pretty good, a lot better than something like a ballistic tip. But this is actually molecularly a bonded jacket. So in tests that I've seen on YouTube of people shooting into ballistics gel, sometimes this retains like 97, 98% of its original bullet weight after it's gone into ballistics gel at 2,800 and something feet per second, which is just absolutely crazy for a non-monolithic round. As I looked and compared the boxes, the muzzle velocity is listed at the same, 2,820. Now, interestingly enough, these are usually high on the boxes, but when I got my chronograph and I was testing my ammo before I settled on this one, everything I shot was lower than the advertised velocity, except this interlock. And I've got a 22-inch barrel, not a 24-inch barrel. But so that's a couple inches shorter, so I expected 50 to 100 feet per second, maybe less than what was advertised. But I actually got 20 feet per second on average higher velocity out of my rifle with this American Whitetail ammo than what's advertised. I was averaging 2,840 feet per second. I'm going to confirm that again today, and also going to compare it to this, and I'm going to compare our shot group sizes. So let's get started. Hey, thanks for tuning in. If you haven't already, please like this video and be sure to subscribe to my channel. Let's go. So first things first, comparing this ammo. This is the Hornady Interlock. You can see about maybe 3/32. I think it's a little bit less than 1/8 of an inch of lead extending from the copper on that spire point bullet right there. I got a Hornady primer, I assume. The Federal Fusion, you can see there, they've kind of got a trademarked sealant on their primer right there. That's some type of like a blue epoxy that seals that up rather nice. That's kind of across the board on factory Federal ammunition, which is a neat add. You can see on this, they call this, they don't call it a spire point, they call it a skived tip, S-K-I-V-E-D, and you can see not quite as much lead protrudes, really not any. It's kind of flush, almost making that as if it's a hollow point. Just to compare that, again, the Hornady on the left and the Federal on the right. Warm summer day. I'm going to go ahead and load up 3 rounds. I'm going to do the Hornady Interlock first. I'm just going to go ahead and send 3 rounds down range with it. Let the gun cool down while we go check out how that goes, and then we'll come back and do the fusion. Warm out here. I've got a lot of mirage going on. Here we go. Hornady Interlock round 1. This is cold barrel here. Go to top left target. That was bullseye. That was 2,806 feet per second. Considerably lower than my noted average. Shot felt good. It's right there as well. It was 2,833, so that's closer. Makes me feel better. I'd still like to get one that gets higher than that 2,840 to get my average up. Still 13 feet per second higher than the velocity listed on the packaging, which is interesting. Let's see if we can get round 3 right in that same spot, which, as you know, if you've shot much, is the hardest round. Here we go. Nice and steady. Deep breath. Hold on, exhale. Well, at least I'm not flinching. squeezing, and it wasn't going off. It's because I had the safety on. Let's try that again. Well, I'll tell you what, folks. Federal is going to have to really do well to do better than this, I think. Let's go take a closer look. It didn't measure the velocity on that one for some reason. Alrighty, so we're looking at a MOA, possibly slightly less than MOA, 3-shot group right there. That's from the Hornady Interlock. I'm going to measure these precisely later, but I'll tell you what, you can't complain with that at 100 yards with a rifle that's not really designed for winning matches and factory ammunition. That's the Hornady 150 grain interlock. Good stuff. I mean, you can see why I settled on that. Less than $30 a box. Flatter shooting than a lot of ammo that I tested. Higher velocities from the muzzle. The bullet is known to perform really well on deer-sized game. It's going to be hard to beat right there. But I'm anxious to try this Federal Fusion ammo that I've heard so much about. Let's do it. Hopefully I'm not screaming at you guys. I have my earplugs in. I'm using foam plugs this time instead of the over-the-ear things. They're nice, but I can't really get down on this gun real well with them. Did I mention it was hot? It is hot out here. I don't know what the temperature is exactly, but I'm going to guess it's pushing 90 degrees. I'm sweating pretty good. It's at least 85, but I love it. It's not raining. It's gorgeous. The wind's not blowing 30 miles an hour. We've got a nice little breeze out here, but not bad at all. God is good. All right, so let's go ahead and load up 3 of these Federal Fusions. The barrel's definitely going to be warmer for these, which maybe isn't really fair, but this barrel's going to be warm today regardless because I'm out in the sun. Need to be in the shade, especially with that chronograph. That's why it probably had an error. These feed into my magazine real well. All right. I'm going to shoot for the right side upper bullseye this time. There we are. All right, that was about 2 inches to the left of the Hornady. That's irrelevant. Every ammo is going to shoot differently. We're not worried about where it's hitting. We're worried about what kind of group we're getting. Oh, wow. That was 2,898 feet per second on an advertised 2,820 feet per second round. Wow. Nearly 2,900 feet per second. All right, it's round 2. That one was not 2 inches left. It was less than 1 inch left and about almost an inch low. So the first 2 shots, not grouping as well. Felt really good about both shots, just squeezed until the shot surprised me. And that was 2,903 feet per second. That is really, really surprising. 2,903. Here we go, round 3. Felt good. That one was 2 inches left and 2 inches low, so we've got a 3-shot group, but it's not near what that Hornady was. And back at 2891 feet per second. That velocity really, really surprises me. I tell you what, I know my barrel's hot. It's a hot day out here. Not ideal. I'm not letting it cool down. But I'm going to go ahead and send 2 more of these Federal downrange for a 5-shot group. Just out of curiosity. Again, if you've never watched my shooting videos before and you're wondering about this sweatshirt I've got on my shoulder, I had my shoulder basically reconstructed when I was 25 years old, so I'm not recoil sensitive. I just don't want to hurt myself. And this makes me shoot better. And anything you can do to make you shoot better, you need to do. All right, this will be round 4 with the Federal Fusion. It's right there. Still in the ballpark. It's not going to be a bad group. It's just not going to be near as good as the Hornady. One more. 2913 feet per second. I can't believe that. I just wonder, does that have anything to do with how warm it is out here? And my barrel warming up, that kind of makes sense to me. The metal would be expanding as it gets warmer. That means there's less friction on the bullet as it passes down that barrel. Let's go here with round 5 Federal Fusion. And that one was the farthest off. Didn't feel quite as good on that shot. It wasn't quite as steady. Could have been me a little bit right there. But let's go see what we've got. This barrel cool down. That was 2,920 feet per second. Fastest one yet. 2920. Just to make sure. Yes, muzzle velocity 2820. Interesting that those are both faster, much faster than advertised. Both excellent rounds, no doubt about that. All right, as you can see, even though I shot 5, this was my last one. Those were my last 2, definitely. So my 3-shot group, these are inch squares. So right there would be an inch, and almost 2 inches. A little less straight shot between that one and that one. But again, I'm going to measure that. But as you can see, the 2 extra shots aside, that's not near the group that the Hornady Interlocks were. I think I made the right choice, and I think I'm sticking with the Interlock. Would I go wrong with the Federal Fusion? No. It's an excellent performing bullet, and shoots great. Man, those velocities are crazy. What I'm going to do now is a couple more shots, maybe right there with the Hornady, just to check those velocities again. .2837. So that's my fastest one with the Hornady. But they were right there together. That was 2836. Getting closer to my average. That's 2,828 feet per second average compared to the federal 5. That's an average velocity of 2,905 feet per second. Wow, pushing 3,000 feet per second with a 308 and 150 grain ammo, 22-inch barrel. It's pretty nuts. I like it. I like that part. And there were those last two. Again, they walked over about 1.5 inches, and a little high, but still right there. That's not more than 1/2 inch. I'm not sure where a third one would have gone, but man, it's pretty good stuff. Hey, I like a lot of these YouTube channels that do ballistic tests and more extensive testing with rounds and that sort of thing, like Hootie Hoo, Banana Ballistics, Backfire, some different channels like that. But tell you what, I don't know about you, but I don't want to get hit by a 150 grain round from a 308 deer rifle. That tree is that's a pretty good size poplar tree that I'm pretty sure I have killed. Back here's another one that's just been, oh my goodness, absolutely demolished. That one will be falling in the road soon. Wow. Crazy, crazy. Look at that. Shrapnel. That one's broken. Just got some vines keeping it up. Yep, you don't want to get hit with a deer round, folks. You don't want to get hit with any round, but you sure don't want to get hit with a deer round. All right, well, I'm back home. I've been crunching some of this data here. And I've got to say, for me personally, I think I made the right choice when I ordered my custom dial from Leupold and went with the Hornady Interlock. I had not tested the Federal Fusion ammunition, and I wanted to do that just for peace of mind. But let me just run over some of these numbers and I'll show you how I came to that conclusion. Muzzle velocity with the Hornady. Today it averaged 2,827 feet per second, which is interesting because I got my dial customized based on 2,840 feet per second, which is what I was getting for an average the first time I shot that ammunition through my chronograph. And the Federal Fusion was significantly faster, 2,905 feet per second on average, with the fastest being 2,920 feet per second. Both of those cartridges list on the box a muzzle velocity of 2,820 feet per second, which I would assume is probably out of a longer test barrel than mine. I've only got a 22-inch barrel. 24-inch is kind of standard, but so to get out of that Federal Fusion ammo at least one shot that was exactly 100 feet per second faster than the listed muzzle velocity, that's pretty incredible in my opinion. I'm still averaging faster than the listed velocity for the Hornady as well. It's also listed at 2,820. So today I was shooting on an average of 2,827. Again, I'm not exactly sure, other than it was a new box, a different box of ammo than what I shot last, and got an average of 2,840 feet per second. The Federal Fusion bullet has a higher ballistic coefficient, has a G1 coefficient of 0.414 compared to the Interlock from Hornady of 0.338. Those are not incredible BCs, but the improved BC and the higher velocity on the Federal results in a little bit better curve. I went out to 500 yards on this. That's at least probably 200 to 250 yards further than I'll ever shoot at a deer where I live. And if you stay within those 200 and 250 yard ranges, the difference is marginal. For example, at 250 yards, there's an 8-inch drop with the Hornady Interlock. At 250 yards, there's a 7-inch drop with the Federal Fusion with its increased velocities and increased ballistic coefficient. So you're talking about an inch difference at 250 yards. You're not going to miss a deer if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing at 250 yards with just an inch different. 300 yards, it's a little bit greater, a couple of inches. It's a 14-inch drop with the Hornady and just a little bit over 12 inches, well, almost 12 and a half inches, about a 1.7-inch difference there. 12.3 drop for the Federal, and then it really starts to come into play at about 350 to 400 yards. The 400-yard drop for the Hornady is 32.1 versus a 27.8-inch drop for the Federal. And at 500 yards, you can see the greatest discrepancy, of course. It's a 60.2-inch drop for the Hornady and a 51.3-inch drop for the Federal. So almost cutting a foot difference there, but that's way out to 500 yards. Again, the difference at 250 yards is only 1 inch. And the energy, I guess it's the increased velocity of the Federal, but it's significantly greater than that of the Hornady Interlock. At the muzzle, we've got 2,810 for the Federal versus 2,661 for the Interlock. Let's go out to 200 yards for the Federal, 2,059 foot-pounds versus 1,804 for the Hornady. At 500 yards, the Federal is still pushing 1,236 foot-pounds of energy compared to 943 for the Hornady. Again, both of those would be enough to kill a whitetail deer, and the differences aren't that significant at 2 to 250 yards, which is about my maximum. It's about a couple hundred foot-pounds difference. So I'm not stressing over that, which leads me to why I have decided to stick with the Interlock, and that is my rifle just likes it better. The best 3-shot group that I got with the Interlock was sub-MOA at 0.875 inches. Again, that's shooting on a hot day, warm barrel. The best 100-yard 3-shot group I got with that Federal Fusion ammunition was 1.75 inches, which still is not bad. But if you stretch that out to 200 yards, you know, it would be about double that. And I know with the Hornady Interlock 150 grain, I have shot 200-yard groups with another box of ammunition on another day, sub MOA. I got about 1.5 inch group out at 200 yards with that ammunition. So I'm just really pleased with that Hornady. The bullet may not be quite the performer that the Federal Fusion is based on everything I've seen, but again, my rifle seems to like that Hornady a little bit, and that ammunition has been around for a long time, and it's a proven whitetail slayer, and that's all that I need to know. So I'm glad I stuck with the Interlock. Hey, I hope this video has helped you, been informative. I've tried to be as thorough and detailed as I can. I don't normally do a whole lot of this, mostly fishing videos on this channel, but I do love to fool with some guns as well. My hunting is kind of like my fishing. I like fooling with the fishing equipment, tying knots and adding leaders and fooling with baits and that sort of thing. I like that part of it just as much about as I like catching a fish. So same thing with hunting. I like studying the ballistics and getting out and shooting, trying to get tight groups and that sort of thing, and just getting used to a particular rifle or handgun or whatever the case may be. Before hunting season ever gets there, that's just as fun to me as getting out and going hunting. But I thank you so much for tuning in. Again, I hope you'll like this video and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And I'll be bringing you lots more content like this and fishing videos and all kind of other good stuff. Just remember, folks, wherever you are, God loves you, so do I. May the good Lord bless you all, and until next time, I will catch you later. God bless you. Bye-bye.